We'll move now to a story we've been following for several years. Reparations for Black San Franciscans are back on the table.
And today, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors passed a measure that would create a fund designed to help Black people who have been harmed by past city laws, including redlining from the 1950s through the 70s.
ABC 7 News political reporter Monica Madden is digging into the story for us. Monica, how much money would be added into this fund?
Dan and Alma, that's the kicker here. As things stand right now, the city is not appropriating a cent towards this reparations fund that might have made it easier to get the board's full support when the city is in a financial deficit. But supporters say at the least, this sets up the framework for actual funding in the future.
I think it means repair.
As a descendant of slaves, James Taylor has long advocated for reparations.
My own hands have touched my grandfather's hands, and my grandfather touched his grandfather's hands, and that was a slave. So think about how recent that is, and how economically the empty hands of my grandfather left me with nothing, because the empty hand of his grandfather, who started in slavery, left him nothing.
Taylor says he's pleased San Francisco is revisiting the issue after the city rejected a controversial proposal to pay a lump sum of $5 million to qualifying Black residents in 2023.
This most certainly is different than asking the city to pony up dollars to support reparations recommendations.
Supervisor Shaman Walton's ordinance merely sets up the fund to receive money either appropriated by the city or privately donated.
And it's going to take some time. We got to build a pot and then, of course, come up with the criteria in terms of how we're going to prioritize what recommendations we address first. But this is a major first step.
Some of the city's previous recommendations for Black reparations range from assistance with down payments for buying a house, improved access to education, and cash payments.
Redlining, making us pay taxes for education where our children couldn't go to those certain schools, pushing us out, gentrification. There's so many things that have been done to us systemically, and we have seen populations, we have seen races, we have seen ethnicities receive reparations. But we have not seen that for the Black population.
If funded, San Francisco would be one of the first major U.S. cities to actively offer reparations for Black residents.
So who would be eligible? Black San Franciscans who can prove that they were harmed by past discriminatory city policies or prove lineage tied to slavery in the U.S. could tap into this fund once there's money. And worth noting, though, part of the pushback in the past was the cost, with San Francisco's repeated budget shortfall in recent years.
Same old stuff. Same old stuff. A lot of people ask me, Brandon, why are you talking about politics more? Brandon, why are you talking about Trump? Why are you talking about the Democrats, the Republicans, etc.? You need to get back to like the Black Power movement and all this stuff. And the reality is, I'm going to tell you straight up, that conversation is going nowhere fast. Now, the Back to Africa stuff, yeah, we're doing it. I mean, when you're doing it, how long do we have to tell you about what we're doing and invite you to come participate in it with us, and you not want to do that, or you basically reject that before we get to say, you know what, I'm moving on. I'm still doing what I'm doing in Africa. I'm still pro-Black, still a Pan-African person, but there's other things that I'm interested in. Let's be honest. We had a 3-phase evolution, well, a 2-phase evolution, which then devolved into something that was redundant and, in my opinion, self-destructive. We had the Buy Black movement that was straight up economic empowerment for the African-American community. We then had the Back to Africa movement, which has always been a thing, but it found resurgence in the late 2015 to 2021, span. COVID did a lot to kind of shut down that movement or that narrative. And then around 2017, as the Buy Black movement and the Back to Africa movement, or the resurgence of the Back to Africa movement, was really gaining steam. I mean, you have people going back to Africa, people moving back to Africa, people starting businesses in Africa, creating pipelines and building bridges between Africa and the United States of America. And out of nowhere, like a ton of bricks, we were hit by this reparations, the resurgence of the reparations movement, led by straight con artists Yvette Carnell and Tariq Nasheed. Let's be real. First, it was Yvette Carnell. You had certain groups like in Cobra who were there before her. Antonio Moore, they really got the ball rolling, moving the black mind, shifting the black mind from do for self, buy black, go back to Africa, build an economic hub in Africa. They shifted the paradigm from that back to the white man owe us something and he needs to pay us what he owe, and we gonna use zero leverage to force him to pay us reparations. It was essentially just tough talk, reparations or else. And the fact that 99.9% of the African American community's mind didn't go straight to or else what showed you that a lot of us were just either too dumb, too lazy, or too criminally minded, too dishonest to call it out for what it was. So now, fast forward to 2026, time flies, right? It's been almost 10 years since the ugly reparations movement, reared its head again. And we are back at square one. Black people going into 2026, and the only thing that they have to look forward to is this reparations fund that has no funding. It has no funding from the state, that ultimately is going to go nowhere. Because at this point, if you create a fund with no state guaranteed funding, you're basically just hoping that some private interest comes along and says, hey, we'll throw a couple of $100 million into that, but they're going to want something in return. That's going to be an investment. That's not going to be like a gift. That's not going to be reparations. And that's what I really think this is meant for. And you're going to give it to who? All the black people running San Francisco, a city where they literally made a movie called The Last Black Man in San Francisco to highlight the shrinking footprint of African Americans in the city of San Francisco. So maybe one of the least black populated cities in the world is the only city that decides to throw out a reparations fund, which is purely symbolic because it has no state backing and no state funding. There's $0 in this fund. Just to make it clear with you, there's $0 in the fund. There's $0 allocated or promised to the fund, guaranteed to the fund, $0. So is it a fund if there's no money in it? It's just a label on. It's like getting your 2-year-old a bank account. Maybe you got the $5 to keep it open, and that's it. So there's nothing there for you, and there's probably not going to be anything there for you for a very long time. So this is where we are in 2026. Black folks, when you talk against Gavin Newsom and you speak out against the leadership in California, it be black people telling you, oh, this is the 5th largest economy in the world. It was the 4th, but it slipped down to the 5th due to horrible management. This is the 5th largest economy in the world. Okay, how much of that economy are you getting? What's your slice of the economy? 0. Your slice of the economy is 0. Hold on one second. What is your slice of the sorry? What is your slice of the economy? 0. Nothing. And don't start arguing, because one thing black folks love to do, we love to argue how we broke, and then when you say y'all broke, then they start telling you about all the money we got and all the stuff we have. That's a common theme in the black community. Hollering broke, but when their pride is insulted, all of a sudden they're giving you the laundry list of all the things they do in fact have. So let's not do that. But we have a fun with nothing in it. And I was just sitting around, I was sitting on the toilet this morning taking a dookie. And that's where I find most of my enlightenment. That's when I receive the majority of my enlightenment, pretty early in the morning, probably around 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just sitting on the toilet looking up at the ceiling, as I have a tendency to do. And I'm thinking, ain't this about a bitch? Gaza, the Palestinians in Gaza who just got bombed into eradication, they've received more in the past 4 years under Biden, in the past year under Trump, from the Democrats than the African American community has received. Think about that. Black America is so ignorant that they figured out a way to, while being in close proximity to wealth, in close proximity to colonization and white supremacy, so-called white supremacy, we've managed to take in less than a war-torn open air prison that is being bombed into obsolescence. Just think about that. Because next year, all types of money is going into Gaza. They're about to put all type of investment in the Gaza Strip. You know that if you're following it. How much investment is going into the black community? Zero. $0. Besides the money that Trump has given to black colleges. That's it. $0. And is it because there's no one willing to do for the black people and everyone is against us and we have no friends? No, that's not why. That's because black people have done something. We are doing something currently that we have done for decades. Absolutely refusing to work with the current administration that is in power, because we've been told that we have to operate as the revolutionary hostile force against the Trump administration for the entirety of the 4 years of Trump's presidency. So while everyone else who may or may not have hated Trump gets to reap benefits and go in and negotiate and say, hey, what can you do for us? African Americans have to go stand guard at the front line, which is really the back of the line, and ask for nothing, negotiate for nothing, and ultimately receive nothing as we hold the line for a fight that will not be brought back up until either the midterms or the next general election. Am I lying? Do you disagree? Can you refute what I just said? African Americans are literally like a child with our arms folded and our lip poked out, saying we refuse to even talk to Donald Trump. We refuse to even talk to Donald Trump. Why? Because he racist. Why? Because the Democrat Party told us that he racist. And while even the Democrat Party negotiates with Trump and sits at the table right now in an attempt to get an extension on the Affordable Care Act funding, black people can't do it. We are not permitted to do any such thing. Now, the Democrat supposed to be the sworn enemy of the Trump administration, but they could sit at the table and negotiate to get the things they want, but we can't sit at the table and negotiate to get the things we want, or somehow we're traitors to the cause. Illegal immigrants get to go to the table and negotiate for what they want, but African Americans can't go to the table and negotiate what we want because we have to be the vanguard, the front line. In reality, We're just the suckers, the perpetual losers who have just been preordained to lose when it comes to the American political system. Now, is this what we were taught by our ancestors? Was this the example set by our ancestors who came out of slavery, the ones who we are arguing for reparations on behalf of? Of course it wasn't. They ran for office, they voted, they participated in local politics, but they also got their ass to work. They also pursued investment opportunities. They also pursued partnerships. Madam C.J. Walker is someone who comes to mind immediately. And the list goes on and on. So what part of sitting around doing nothing, but on the internet talking shit all day and not doing anything that can deliver tangible results, what part of the game is that? What part of the lesson plan given to us by our ancestors is that? So when you ask me, oh, why you ain't talk about this? Because I'm not stupid. Because I'm not dumb and I'm not ignorant. Because I know that if my community won't collectively get together to get up and go get it, I know that if all my community wants to do is sit on their ass and talk about how somebody owes us something, I know that I'm going to have to find another community of like-minded people who are out here trying to make progress. Another community of people who are out here trying to get shit done. If you don't do that, you ain't got the sense a dog got. If a dog get with a pack and it won't hunt, he gonna go find a pack that's gonna hunt. And the good thing is there are many African Americans who make up this new community. It's still the same community, so to speak, but it's just a different facet, a different, section of the community. And now I'm out here talking about, hey, let's get an investment going. Hey, let's make sure our votes match our interest. That's a message too. That's a ministry too. Now you might not care about it because it's like either we get the windfall of reparations or we just default back to escapism through entertainment. That's what I'm seeing. That's what it's given. If we can't get reparations, might as well go laugh and be entertained and do nothing. Well, I'm not built like that. My mind doesn't work that way. You can't fault me because my mind doesn't function in an ignorant manner exclusively. I would like to have things. I would like to have something to leave my daughter when I'm no longer here. Don't you want the same for your kids? And maybe you got it. Or maybe you feel like you're on the verge of getting it. But is there any guarantee to it? Is there any security to it? Or is it all resting on, man, I hope I keep this job to retirement. Yeah, I hope I keep my job so I keep paying my mortgage, which is my largest investment. I don't know what you're doing, but I know if you're banking on reparations, I don't think that's a safe bet. We all have the internet. We all have this tool at our disposal. We all have the ability to take advantage of this tool. Some people use it for what it's for, to improve their lives. Others use it as nothing more than a miniature television. And it's funny. You see folks sitting on a couch in their own house. They're not doing that. They're on the phone. I'm looking at these fools like, why would you watch this little screen when you got a big ass screen sitting right in front of you? Oh, because the little screen has replaced the big screen. 100%. But in case you want to know where the latest argument for reparations stands, I have no problem with playing you a clip. This guy's dead. Charlie Kirk is absolutely dead, never to return. Before he died, he addressed the issue of reparations. And the debater that he was, this guy shouldn't have really even been speaking for reparations. But I feel like Charlie Kirk pretty much dismantled the argument for reparations. Let me know what you think.
Black community receiving reparations.
I'm against that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why so?
So here's my view, and I want to hear yours,
Okay.
which is that I did not own slaves,
Mhm.
and you were not a slave.
Correct.
Right. So we are individuals, and therefore we cannot be held accountable or should receive something from something that didn't happen to us or something we did not do. Basically, what you're saying is I'm going to take money from Charlie Kirk for something he didn't do and give it to a group of something, to somebody of something they also didn't do. For what reason? How is that just? So what is a way that we could try to help all communities? Here's maybe we can find some common ground,
Sure,
right?
I'm listening.
Instead of reparations.
Sure.
Is that we need to break the cartel of public sector teacher unions and make it easier for people of all backgrounds, but specifically Hispanic and Black individuals, to have a quality education. Secondly, we need to put fathers back in the home.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If we can find common ground on that, I think that would go a lot further than just giving cash for people that happen to be related to something evil that happened a little while ago.
How do you feel about the Black community receiving reparations?
I'm against.
And that's the one argument I feel like it's gonna be impossible to get around. How do you make a bunch of people who either weren't here during the time of slavery, never owned slaves, or whose ancestors fought and died to free Black people from slavery? How do you get those people to buy into the idea of, yo, you still owe Blacks something? You personally never benefited from their labor, but you owe Blacks something. Well, their ancestors owned the slaves and they benefited from that. Yeah, and so did we. When your girl walk up into JP Morgan Chase Bank and they promote her up to manager and she get her yearly bonus, she's profiting from slavery, right? When you go open a bank account and open up a CD and a money market account and you go invest your money and get a return on it, you're benefiting from slavery. You do understand that. So when you get the home loan from Chase and Washington Mutual, they ain't around anymore, or Bank of America or any of these banks, Wells Fargo, any of these banks, and you buy a house and you got that dream home you wanted, and then you go refinance and then you redo the kitchen with that money, you're benefiting from slavery. How do you make someone pay you for something that at the end of the day we're literally all benefiting from or have all benefited from? Hell, you could talk about George Washington Carver and how he was done dirty. But when you go start up your damn car, you're benefiting from I think it was Henry Ford or one of them who exploited him. You're benefiting from that exploitation. When you get your fat ass in the car and drive half a block down the street to go to the liquor store, you're benefiting from that. I'm sorry, but I don't know how you're going to sell this in a way that's going to make a bunch of people who only benefit from it as much as you do say, you know what? Yeah, let me give you a little bit more money out of my damn check. I don't see how you're going to do that. I really don't. I went to work today. I got my bonus, my holiday bonus. Okay, if the holiday bonus $4,000, right? If the holiday bonus is $4,800, they took $1,800 in taxes. If your holiday bonus is $4,800, they took $1,800 from you in taxes. And then they turned around with those taxes and they redistributed that tax money how they saw fit. So you got $4,800 on the bonus, but you only brought home $3,000, right? Think about that. That was a car note. For some of y'all, it was y'all rent. Hell, if you live in a certain state, that was your mortgage that they taken out of our bonus check. Why in the hell, if I'm now change my skin to white, change me to lily white, like rice on a paper plate white. Why in the hell would I give these niggas anything more out of my taxes, out of my money? I'm already getting absolutely cooked by the government. And I'm going to sign a bill to let them tax me more? The only state that's even coming close to doing this is California. And I promise you, Californians are not signing up for any more new taxes. We are taxed to the gills. We are taxed to the gills. You know, everybody else around the country, they gas $2, $2.50, $2.70 at the most. Bro, I went to go fill up my car. Gas was $4.13. Why? Taxes. I went to go get my bonus check. They done took damn near $2,000. You think I'm paying more money for reparations? I'm just saying, imagine if I was white. How they're going to miss all the black tax dollars when they redistribute the reparations from the tax fund is beyond me. That's for you to figure out. But it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's why you have a fund that's unfunded. Should I say that again? Should I do like Umar Johnson? That's why you have a fund that's unfunded. Because this is going to take some real trickery or something to get people to buy on to that idea. Overwhelmingly in every state, every single state in the union, when the reparations argument is brought up, when it's polled, everybody says no. Everybody says no, except for probably like 2% of the poll. That's the black people. You're going to have to make up your mind. Either you're going to go forward, you're going to go backwards, or you're going to stand still trying to live in the past. You understand? We over here trying to figure out like 305 grand champs. We over here figuring out how to wrestle our damn money away from these Somalians. And y'all in here, and black folks still in here talking about reparations or else. Come on now. Come on now. Let's get this super chat, see what the bro had to say. Oh, appreciate the live shows, B. Hey, yeah, do me a favor. Share them and watch them. Our views are down, but I think it's because the holidays. It always gets a little stagnant during the holidays. But I'm just blaming. That's just my coping mechanism. Don't worry. I don't agree with ADOS or FBA, but I do believe ADOS has more genuine care for black people who descended from chattel slavery. They don't give a damn about you either. Where are those national chapters Yvette Carnell was supposed to be opening up? Yvette Carnell is just a tool of the Democrat Party. Everything shifted the way it did. The Democrats realized they didn't need Yvette, and they kicked her to the curb. You guys don't realize that once black people voted for Joe Biden at 90%, y'all don't realize that they threw ADOS to the curb? They didn't need you no more. They thought black folks was going to come out like 40% for Trump. They were scared. That's why they even entertained stuff like ADOS and FBA. Black folks is still holding strong in their support for the Democrat Party. We cool. Like, we've been talking since there was no grays in our hair. Now we got grays in our hair. We going to be old like them people at those ADOS and FBA conferences. We going to be standing up with gray in our hair talking about, yeah, pay us the debt that's owed. Looking dumb as hell. It's stupid. I mean, if you ask me. But who am I? What do I know? I'm just a man. I don't know why my thing is suddenly not working. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Why are you laughing, RS7? I mean, it is funny, but it's like one of those situations where you got to laugh to keep from crying, in my opinion. I type in reparations, y'all. Mostly, they had 1 2-minute clip about the new San Francisco Reparations Fund. It's 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Everything else is from 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Oh, and then they've released a movie or a commercial. They've released a commercial for the Reparations Fund, and that's it. You got a 2-minute video on the local news, and then you got a 1 minute and 39-second commercial for the reparations. And I'm gonna do my part. Let it never be said that I don't support reparations. I'm gonna do my part, because if they give it, I want mine, right? I ain't gonna hold you. But it's highly unlikely that it's coming. But I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna play the commercial to everybody who's watching.
They said it was time to repair the harm, but they forgot to bring the checkbook. They promised us repair, but we're still paying interest on the damage. They passed the fund, but left it empty. We're not asking for permission. We're building the infrastructure.
This most certainly is different than asking the city to pony up dollars to support reparations recommendations.
Supervisor Shaman Walton's ordinance merely sets up the fund to receive money either appropriated by the city or privately donated.
And it's going to take some time. We got to build a pot and then, of course, come up with the criteria in terms of how we're going to prioritize what recommendations we address first. But this is a major first step.
Some of the city's previous recommendations for Black reparations range from assistance with down payments for buying a house, improved access to education, and cash payments.
Redlining, making us pay taxes for education where our children couldn't go to those certain schools, pushing us out, gentrification. There's so many things that have been done to us systemically. And we have seen populations, we have seen races, we have seen ethnicities receive reparations. But we have not seen that for the Black population.
If funded, San Francisco would be one of the first major U.S. cities to actively offer reparations for Black residents.
So who would be eligible? Black San Franciscans who can prove that they were harmed by past discriminatory city policies or prove lineage tied to slavery in the U.S. could tap into this fund once there's money. And worth noting, though, part of the pushback in the past was the cost, with San Francisco's repeated budget shortfall in.
Okay. So you don't even got to worry about the budget shortfall, because who qualifies for this? San Francisco residents who can prove that they were harmed by slavery or by redlining or yada, 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 right? Okay. How many Black people are in San Francisco? Other than Philmo Slim and JT the Bigger Figure, how many Black people are in San Francisco? This is a joke. But it's just enough. It's just enough to keep the most ignorant among us holding on to the dream of reparations. And you damn sure dreaming. Dreaming, dreaming, dreaming. But I don't know about y'all, but I feel another documentary coming on. I bet you Tariq gonna make a documentary about this. Hidden Colors 12, the urge for reparations. At this point, reparations is sounding like an STD, bro. I hear it and I cringe. Guys, let's move towards the future, man. Other people are lapping us. We're getting lapped by freaking refugees at this point. Think about that. Black America is getting lapped by refugees, bro, who don't have anywhere the numbers we do, but they ain't sitting up talking about reparations. They might be talking about some welfare. That's another conversation. When we gonna start using the EBT cards to open up the soul food shack? There's things that can be done. It's things that can be done, but you can only do it if you work with your politicians. Here's the issue. The Somalians in Minnesota, their politicians look like them and they unapologetically fight for them. They don't get in, sell out, sell them out, and see what the white man gonna give them. They say, look, you either working with me to work with Somali people, or we gonna find someone else to work with us. Meanwhile, Black African-American politicians, they want daddy crumbs from his table. They'll sell you out for a damn cracker sitting on the table of a white person's kitchen table. We got the sellout culture, homie. Oh, we got a culture. You're right. It's sellout culture. What will you give me to betray my whole group? What little neat nigga trinket can you give me to be a damn sellout and a Judas against my whole group. Let's be real. Yeah, Ilhan Omar married to a white man, but that's only so that she can stay in the country. Y'all gotta understand that's strategy right there. Not strategy. When black people do it, strategy. That's strategy right there. If she married another Somali, whether he's an American citizen or not, if Trump do some funny shit, they both out of here. You marry that white man who's rich, which I don't even think he rich, but you marry that white man, that's like the strongest anchor you can have. To be married to a Caucasian in the United States as an immigrant, there is no stronger anchor in this country other than being born here. Slavery probably be the only thing close to being as strong. We have an update for you, and let me know if you want to hear it. Apparently, according to new reports, this is breaking. The police have identified the Brown University shooting suspect, and now there's a warrant out for his arrest. Let's talk about this real quick, and then we're going to talk about why the EBT community is hollering again. The EBT community, once again, has been disturbed, and we need to figure out why. But first, breaking news: police identified Brown University suspect and have put a warrant out for his.
All right, live shot in
he, her, or she's, it, they, them's arrest. We're gonna use all the pronouns. We got to be politically correct. Politically correct the mundo.
All right, live shot in Providence, Rhode Island. You can see they are setting up the mics, and everyone hoping that we're going to get some new information. There's been a lot percolating out of this case today. We're going to find out what's real, what isn't, what these folks know. I mean, this is an intense manhunt that is going on now into day 5, searching for the shooter who made his way into a Brown University lecture hall and shot down and killed 2 beautiful young students. Police are looking for this man. We have all been looking at these images of him over the past several days. They want to question him. He was caught on security cameras. And then there's also a person of interest, someone who was, quote, in proximity of that person of interest. Investigators also say they do have some new evidence that includes DNA. Killed in that room, these beautiful, bright, young American students, 19-year-old Ella Cook from Alabama. She was.
Yeah, Ella Cook was the vice president of the campus Republicans. And then this guy right here, it's crazy because they're giving Ella Cook's name, but they're not giving the name of this dude. Well, not attached to the GoFundMe. But they got her Instagram up. But she was the vice president of the campus Republicans. That right there is all the proof I need to know that this was targeted.
Vice president of the Brown College Republicans, 18-year-old Mohammed Aziz Umarzokov from Virginia. He was hoping to become a doctor. He wanted to go to medical school here. So let's bring in Paul Morrow, retired NYPD inspector, attorney, Fox News contributor, live on the scene in Providence, Rhode Island, talking to a lot of folks there. Paul, what can you tell us? What is anything really feeling like it's breaking in this case today?
Martha, it does. I've been here now 4 or 5 days, working sources, talking to the people on the ground, the cops, some of the officials here, and I can tell you that by far today is the buzziest day, for lack of a better term. They do feel that they're making progress. They're guarded about what they're saying and what progress means. But I can tell you that at the very least, I confirmed last night that they did discover live rounds at the scene. Why does that matter? Because live rounds will have hopefully DNA that's not degraded from having been fired, because you have to use your hands to put those bullets into the gun, and you'll leave DNA. So even if that is not a clue that matches to a particular person through the databases, etc., they could potentially use familial DNA to try to get there, as we saw in the Koberger case, or if they make an arrest by more old-fashioned means, let's say from video, from a tipster, something like that, you can then use that evidence to confirm during a prosecution, because this could have been a tough case to prosecute. So if and when they get someone, and I think they're going to get there, this is going to be important evidence. I do feel they're making progress.
Yeah, let's hope so. I just want to clarify for people, what you're looking at on the right-hand side of your screen is this video that it's all at a distance, but you see the silhouettes. You see the person that we've seen in these images moving. Then you see him behind a fence. Then he crosses paths with this other individual, and the person of interest, the stocky guy that we've been looking at, when they interact, he runs away. So they don't have any idea, though, Paul, do they, whether or not these two people know each other, or maybe this guy just got too close? What does your gut tell you?
My gut tells me the following. The perpetrator fears that this second person will recognize him. The second person might not at that point have even known that a shooting occurred. But the police, if you notice, and the mayor are being very cautious about how they frame it. They say, this is not a person of interest, this second person. We just want to talk to that person. They're trying to reassure this second piece. We're not looking to arrest you. We just want to talk to you. Because of the way that the perpetrator seems to react, this person could put the perpetrator in the vicinity. And if this second person is shown the body type, the video that we've all seen now, he potentially could say, oh, I know that guy from the neighborhood.
Paul, I want to jump in for 1 second.
Really want to talk to the second person.
Yeah. So we are just getting some new reporting that was, I'm sure you saw earlier, but we can now report this. And this is coming from Brooke Taylor, also working this case. Providence police have identified the suspected Brown University shooter, and they are also they have a warrant. So we're going to hear more about this, obviously, in just a few minutes at this news conference. And they're also investigating a possible link between the Brown University shooting and the MIT murder. Paul, I know you were also aware that this may be coming, and now we are getting some confirmation that this is what we're likely to learn here a few minutes away.
Well, look, we're always very, very careful here to make sure that we only...
Man, that was a huge nothing burger. So I guess we're still waiting for the press conference to happen, but they apparently have identified a suspect and a warrant for their arrest has been issued. I'm kind of looking and browsing through some of the channels where they focus primarily on investigative reporting and, the Google sleuths, who at this point are more effective than the actual paid sleuths from the police departments. They're in Providence, Rhode Island. They're so inept. They got retired New York NYPD investigators coming over there to help them. Give me some money. I'll fly over there, kick in a couple of doors, knock over a couple of cups of coffee, and bust out a couple of rear tail lights. You just, at a time like this, you need like intimidation. But then they're saying there's a link. They're saying there's a link between this and the MIT shooting. MIT killing. If you don't know, there was a professor who was shot at MIT. This just happened yesterday. I didn't report it because I don't think my audience cares about this stuff. Honestly, they're just like, white person died. Oh well. But let's look at that really quick, because they're saying there might be a connection to that. So is this guy going around to all the Ivy League schools, just taking out all the, the upper echelon of education? And then we already know that there was a connection between the Brown suspect, one of them, and the Turtle Island Liberation Front, who is the parent terrorist group of the terrorist cell, the Order of the Black Lotus, which was just caught trying to launch a terrorist attack in Los Angeles on New Year's Eve. So they were plotting a New Year's Eve terror attack. Guys, this is starting to play out like a movie. It's scary as hell. I know you don't care, but guess what? You could be one of the people who's in attendance. Let's check out this MIT professor who got killed just yesterday and what connection that could have to the Brown. And then we're going to talk about our EBT community and what's up with that. Oh, don't forget, we have a challenge. If we get $5 super chats, we will address the Munchie B versus Adam 22 situation. I talked about that on last night's stream. Munchie B responded to Adam 22. We hit our donation goal. I'll address that. And then I'm hearing that there was a Mexican podcaster who was saying some racial remarks about black people on his podcast, which is crazy. I mean, I'll look and see if I can get something on that and respond to that, or I'll just respond to the whole thing as a whole. Let me know. But we got to hit the $5 super chat goal. Let's tap into this.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, and I do want to get you right back into the headlines here. Police are remaining fairly tight-lipped after an MIT professor was gunned down at home earlier in the week. Nuno Loureiro, a physicist and fusion scientist, killed Monday night at his apartment in Brookline, Massachusetts, outside of Boston. As the investigation continues into his death, there are a lot of questions. So I do want to bring in Sam Mintz, editor at Brookline.News. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And first off, I do want to start here at the beginning. Can you break down for me what we know so far about this MIT professor who was killed?
Yeah, we don't know much. Police, like you said, police are being very tight-lipped. They're not giving out any details of the investigation. They say that's to preserve the integrity of the investigation. So this community here in Brookline is a bit shaken, is trying to understand what's going on.
And can you tell me a little bit about Brookline? I know that it is near Boston. Kind of break down what the community is like and let people know out there who maybe aren't familiar.
Sure, yeah. Brookline is a town of about 63,000 people. It's immediately outside Boston, to the west of Boston, on its border. It's a relatively well-off town in the scheme of things here in the Boston area. And it's a town where crime is relatively rare, and this kind of violent crime is extremely rare. It's been, years since the last homicide, and maybe a decade or more since the last fatal shooting here in Brookline. So that's some of the characteristics that make it surprising that it happened here.
And one thing that you mentioned is, of course, police are remaining tight-lipped. They have not, it appears, held a news conference, provided a lot of details. We know that Brookline police, I believe, are involved in the investigation. We haven't really heard further about other agencies that are involved. Have we heard about whether or not this is believed to be a targeted attack, a random attack, or is that just one of many questions that we're left asking here?
That is not something that we've been told. It's something that a lot of people are wondering. You mentioned other agencies. I know that the Massachusetts State Police are involved. They investigate every homicide in Massachusetts. The District Attorney's Office here in Norfolk County, where Brookline is located, is also involved. And one interesting note is that the FBI has said it's offered help, but that so far the investigators looking into this have not taken up the FBI and their offer of help. So that's been reported in several news outlets, and it's something that adds an interesting dimension to this case. But
yeah, man, they can't. It's not like back in the day where they would have cases like this open and shut in a day or two, at most a week. We're living in the age of DEI, guys. A bunch of people employed in positions that they should never be in. If you look at the police chief of Rhode Island, the guy barely even speaks English. He's standing on stage with a bunch of politicians behind him. And as he's speaking, they're leaning over his shoulder, telling him what to say. I mean, they might never find this. They might never find either one of these suspects. Might be the same suspect for all we know. If these people are still even in the country at this point, I'd be surprised when you have people like George Soros, billions of dollars of funding behind these woke radical leftist causes. There's no telling where these people could be. He could have left that. He could have left Brown. The other person could have left MIT, hopped straight on a plane, and they somewhere out in the South Pacific by now. It's really sad, and it just highlights the deteriorating state of our law enforcement apparatus. Now we got to talk about something else that is deteriorating, and that is the health of Americans. But the problem is Americans, especially those of the EBT recipient variety, do not care about their health. That is why there is now an uproar at the fact that many red states are now banning the purchase of junk food with EBT, electronic benefits transfer payments. So in certain red states, you will no longer be able to buy junk food with EBT. I don't know about you, but I just had this vision in my mind of people crossing state lines to go buy junk food with EBT cards. Let's tap into this story. This should give us a chuckle.
Well, if you didn't know, now you do. 6 more states joining the 12 states starting January 2026. Food stamp recipients are no longer going to be able to buy sugary, unhealthy crap. If you're not sure if your state's one of them, the 18 states are Hawaii, Missouri, North Dakota, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Colorado, Florida, Idaho, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, Arkansas, and Indiana. So certain states kind of like have their own little restrictions. They're going to do it a certain way. Like, for example, Arkansas is going to restrict the purchase of soda, fruit, and vegetable drinks that contain less than 50% natural juices. Florida is going to restrict the purchase of soda, energy drinks, candy, and prepared desserts. No more Twinkies, y'all. No more Oreos, no more brownies, no more cakes. Oh, what the hell? I mean, I guess it's a good thing, right?
I think a lot of y'all are failing to realize that healthy food is a luxury. Oh, they're spending all their SNAP benefits on junk food. Yes, junk food, first of all, lasts longer. Secondly, buying junk food gets you more bang for your buck. Having access to healthy food and being able to afford healthy food is a luxury. So if what you're saying is you want them to spend their SNAP benefits on healthy food only, then guess what? You're going to pay more towards the SNAP benefits, which I know is something you don't want to do. So next time, let's just do a little bit of critical thinking, or better yet, just shut the fuck up.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about the outrage from the EBT community and liberals who are upset about red states moving to ban junk food snack purchases with food stamps. Okay, yes, you have a growing coalition of states, again, mostly red states, that are.
I never thought I'd see the day. I never thought I'd see the day when people are outraged, going on the internet, talking about how they're mad because they can't buy junk food. Now, I don't know exactly what foods are banned. I'm pretty sure they're not banning like cake mix and cookie dough and stuff like that. I'm sure they're banning things like soda, unhealthy juices that contain no fruit. You know, the stuff that you see these people loading up in their shopping carts when you're in the grocery store. I mean, bro, I used to work at the grocery store. I used to work at the market. So I've seen how bad this can get. I'm talking about people, they're using the little rascal scooters in the grocery store, like the moms on the rascal, right? And the kids, it's like usually these welfare chicks have about 4 kids minimum. And the 2 oldest kids will have 2 baskets. They're freaking breaking their back trying to push this basket. And the reason why the basket is so heavy is because it's loaded down with cases of soda. I didn't think people could consume 16 and 20 and 30 cases of soda. I didn't even think people bought that much soda until I worked in the market. I mean, when I was young, my grandma used to really love to drink Coca-Cola. But to imagine her drinking a 12-pack a week was a lot. That was a stretch. She would drink like a Coke a day, and then she like skip a day. So like a 12-pack will last like a week. I mean 2 weeks. Bro, these people are drinking a case of, you look nice. This 12-pack Nowadays, people are drinking a 12-pack a day to themselves. I'm just like, and then people wonder like diabetes rates are high and stuff like that. It's absolutely diabolical. But if you want to kill yourself, death by food, that's fine. You're welcome to do that. My only thing is don't use my money. Don't take money out of my paycheck in the form of taxes to then go enable someone to buy a bunch of junk food. It's like a slap in the face, I promise you. It's a total slap in the face. And I'm glad that these states are doing that, and I wish these blue states would get on board. But I'm really a believer in this idea that the Democrat Party is just the party of self-destruction. They're like, look, we want you to do yourself in, because if you die, we can bring in an immigrant and create another lifelong Democrat voter. That's what I believe.
Course, causing financial strain for many Americans. Rising food prices are also a top concern.
But Missourians who get SNAP benefits to help pay for food will soon see a change in what they can buy. John Kipper reports soda, candy, and other snacks will soon be banned.
What's the point of food stamps if it's just for real food?
Hannah Moore believes she and other SNAP recipients should be able to go into the grocery store and buy whatever they like.
That's not even cool. Like, why they do that?
Getting next year's soda, candy, prepackaged sweets, prepared desserts, and juice with less than half of natural fruit or vegetable juice in it. Well, not
what's the point of food stamps if you can only buy real food? Man, shout out to the news. The news knows how to pick the most ignorant people ever and put them in front of a camera. What's the point of getting food stamps if you can only buy real food? Well, if the only reason you need food stamps is to buy junk food, then you don't need food stamps, boo. This is crazy, man. This is crazy.
Be allowed to be purchased on SNAP cards.
I don't know what Trump is doing. I don't know what's going on.
Missouri's move comes after the Trump administration's push to let states ban junk food products, all a part of their Make America Healthy Again agenda.
In the state's waiver application, they say healthy and nutritious families are more likely to be on the path of self-sufficiency. They add these types of foods lead to chronic diseases such as heart disease and diabetes.
Governor Mike Kehoe says they're looking to refocus SNAP to maximize nutritional health for families.
Thank God I don't got kids, but the people out there that got kids, it's not going to be cool.
Moore says she's more into fruits and veggies, but worries about families with kids potentially unable to purchase snacks. And others like Arsenio Townsend agree.
Sometimes adults might want to snack something every now and then.
The Missouri Department of Social Services oversees SNAP, but told First Alert 4 recently that they could not break down specific items purchased by SNAP recipients. Townsend believes folks will just use cash to buy their favorite candy now.
Well, I don't think it'll make a difference, really.
The state also says they're now working to create clear guidelines to ensure the new rule is being followed. In St. Louis County, John Kipper, First Alert 4.
Yeah. And I honestly think that SNAP benefits should only be able to be used to buy certain food groups. You should only be able to buy like bread, eggs, cheese, milk, certain cereals, and meat and vegetables. I don't think you should really be able to buy anything that's overly processed. All that junk, all that stovetop stuff and bullshit. Nah. None of that. You if you want to make it, you want to eat that, make it from scratch. You can only get sweets. Right. You can get sweets from fruits and vegetables. Right. But the thing is, fruits and vegetables are not highly processed and they're not highly refined. So though they may contain a lot of sugar, the fiber content in a fruit actually delays the release of sugar in your bloodstream. That's why eating fruit ain't gonna give you diabetes. But straight up candy, cookies, this right here, zebra cakes, I remember eating that when I was little. That's pure sugar. You eat that, you got to drink a cup of water. And I'm telling you, working in the grocery store was an eye-opening experience to just see how unhealthy, especially Black folks, were when it came to their food choices. I'm talking about they shopping for the month and the cart is 90% sugar, sugary snacks and cakes and sweets and sodas. I'm like, what are y'all actually going to eat like for real food? Oh, this is it. Yeah, I let the kids pick out their own cereal. Man, they going straight to the sugary dudes. Whichever one got the brightest colors on the front of the box. It's just like kids. That's what I would say. Kids raising kids. Adults who were raised on the welfare system, so they still think like children. They have no concept of like frugality, no concept of budgeting, no concept of like nutrition, none of that. They're just doing what they saw their mama do, or just doing what they wish their mama would have did when they was little. Because when I was growing up, black folks, our food wasn't like the healthiest, but it was solid food. You know what I'm saying? You get some pork chops, rice gravy with some cabbage on the side, and some cornbread. That was food you could eat and be full and good. And then there'd be leftovers. You got some of that the next day. And then you cook dinner that night. We didn't do a lot of spaghetti and stuff like that. We do something like neck bones. I already said pork chops. We do the neck bones. We do the chitlins. We do the country fried steak. We do the pig feet. Short ribs, oxtails. We did all that. But that was food. That was real food. You might have rice with the gravy on the side. You might have a dressing on the side. The greens with the tomatoes and the onions with the vinegar. This is what we grew up eating. We do the catfish, pan-fried catfish, stuff like that. Nowadays, the kind of cooking you call down home. Nowadays, these chicks will get their kids a Little Debbie oatmeal cookie sandwich with a scoop of ice cream on top and be like, that's dinner. That's it. These days, these kids lucky to get a hot dog sandwich. You know, a hot dog sandwich, where you take the hot dog and you put it between 2 slices of bread. The fried bologna sandwich. Man, that's what a lot of these people look at as like nutrition. Good eating for their kids. Or it's something processed, the Stouffer's frozen lasagna. That's gourmet for some of these chicks. Oh yeah, we used to eat the liver with the onions. I used to hate my liver with gravy. But I tell you, when the liver fried and it's just fried with the bread and no gravy, boy, I tear it down. Especially when it's cold. The next day, you get out the fridge and it's cold. Oh my God. Cold fried liver is fire. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Cold fried liver is fire. That's one of the best damn meals ever. And your mom lied to you and tell you a steak. I'm gonna make you some steak. Should be liver. You be like, the steak and Sizzler don't taste like that. The old Eddie Murphy commercial when they tell you, mama say, we got McDonald's at home, and she make you the home burger with the 2 slices of Wonder Bread. Yes. Gizzards. Yeah, gizzards for sure. Fried gizzards. One of my favorites. You know, gizzard is a muscle. I used to think gizzard was an organ. Gizzard a muscle. But gizzard was fire. We fry up some oysters. We go get those, the oysters in the jar. We take them oysters, boy. We put them joints in some cornmeal. Drop them bitches. Woo! Fried oysters with some hot sauce. Fire. And if you was really feeling nasty, you throw that bitch on top of a bowl of top ramen. Woo! Not the oysters in the can. You take the ones out the jar, fry them up, throw them on the top ramen, hit them with the hot sauce. You know what I'm saying? Picasso, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was some good stuff. We'll do that. Those all types of stuff, man. Chili and cornbread. We get the corned beef brisket with the cabbage and the cornbread. We would eat that. Fried green tomatoes. Yeah, you it's just so smothered steak. Yeah, we did some cooking. Chitlin. Oh, chitlins. I love chitlins to this day. That's probably a bowl of chitlins. Probably the only thing that'll make me talk to my mama. She makes some chitlins, I'm gonna go get some. That's about it. Other than that, I ain't going. But if she makes some chitlins, I'm going. What you say? You love chitlins? Yeah, me too. Chitlins fire. Hey, this is a chitlin eating family. Black folks got uppity once slavery ended, not us. We eat some chitlins with some onions and some hot sauce. God, I will never forsake the swine. I can never be Muslim because of that. Stop, Mac No Mafioso. Why are y'all uppity, bruh? Chitlins are fire. Chitlins are fire. Chitlins are bussing. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. Yeah, man, I got hungry. Shut up, man. We've all had that moment where we talking about some food that somebody else got in and make us hungry. Y'all be fronting, man. What about when your mama make the smothered potatoes for breakfast? I said, act like your mama ain't made no smothered potatoes for breakfast. Woo! Pepper, salt, a little bit of ketchup. Come on, y'all. I'm taking y'all back right now. We going back to down home. Hey, let me know if the visuals are good. I'm using a green screen on the back, but I don't have a green screen. But are the visuals good? Are there any delays like when I'm moving? I kind of went away from this camera system, but it's a lot more efficient because I don't have to worry about the camera cutting off after every 30 minutes. Man, y'all some haters. Chitlins are bussing. I feel bad for y'all. I really feel bad for y'all. Y'all ain't ate no chitlins. Since we're over here covering stories, let's talk about how ICE apparently made these people cry.
Let me hold your hand when
I am so sick of these liberal snowflakes. I am so sick of these people who want to just run our country into the ground because they want to virtue signal and pretend to care about illegal immigrants who miss their court dates and don't follow the procedures when it comes to immigration. Like, if they feel so bad, why don't they go over to those countries with them? Since they want to advocate for them, y'all do know y'all could go over there, right? But they never will. All virtue signaling all the time. I'm going to write a book. All I know is the subtitle is going to be How Virtue Signaling Destroyed America. Because that's really what it's doing. Let's tap into this real quick.
Let me hold your hand when I say this. We do not move to America because we think it's a better country. We move here because it's a little less worse than our other countries. Because you're stupid to think that we moved to this country for some hot dogs and some baseball. We have better vibes, music, food, culture, history, literally all of the above. We just move here because we are looking to make more money and offer a better chance for our families. Did you know that the minimum wage a day, not an hour, a day in Mexico is not even 15 American dollars? Not even 15 American dollars. Right now with $15 in San Diego, I could go maybe buy a matcha and half of a granola bar, honey. If you support ICE, you support people getting destroyed. If you support families getting destroyed, I hope you rot in hell. And I will see you there, babes, for sure.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Why are these people so entitled? Why are these people so entitled? I mean, everything they say, like, I call people like this a walking contradiction. Everything they say contradicts whatever they said right before it. We don't move to America because America's a better country. We move to America because America's a better country. Talk about your classic dumbass statements. Whatever happened to the days when people were called out for having foolish pride? Oh, the minimum wage is not even 15 American dollars, bro. There's places in America where the minimum wage is not 15 American dollars. In America, you can only buy a coffee and half a matcha and half a granola bar. Okay. Well, guess what? That's why you left there to come to America, because America is better. Talking about the vibes. What are you talking about? America has every vibe that you can get from anywhere in the world, bro. You want to go to the reggae club? You could go there. You in Jamaica now. You want to go to the Mexican club? You could go to freaking Skid Row. You in Mexico. You in Mexico now. Nah, you go to like the Mexican club and you're there. These people are so dumb and entitled, man. Living in America, benefiting from America, while talking about how the country that they ran from and they fear going back to is better than America. At what point do you just shut the hell up? Like, it's like one of those things where you're saying it, and as you're saying it, you begin to realize how stupid what you're saying is. You literally should stop yourself. But it's like some of these people get in front of a camera and they just lose all sense of they lose all common sense and honesty or something. Just saying anything, sounding dumb as hell. And the worst part is, seems like they don't even realize it. Crazy.
Hey guys, I don't typically make videos like this in this type of setting, but I just need to, and I'm so sorry that I'm choked up. I am just really overwhelmed about this, and I don't really know how to react. I go to school in Northeast Georgia, a small town. I'm not going to say where specifically, just for safety. But I was just stopped by ICE. They were unmarked vehicles and they were blocking both sides of the road. It was a 2-lane road and they were blocking both sides of it. And they were stopping every car that passed. Like, no one was getting past them. Like, everyone was getting stopped. And I was just like, hey, what is going on? And they're like, we need to see your driver's license. And I was like, okay. So they take my driver's license, take it and walk around my car. They're looking my car up and down, and they come back. And I was just like, can I ask what this is about? They're like, we're doing a safety check. There are a lot of illegals in the area, and we need to make sure that, we make sure that they are eradicated. And I was just like, what? I was like, are you serious? I was like, I'm a citizen. I was born 45 minutes from here. What? And they were just like, yeah, it's just standard. And then,
man, this is such fake BS. They need to make sure that illegal immigrants are eradicated. You ever notice when these crazies cry, you never see any tears coming out of their eyes? Have you ever noticed that? They cry, it's like they're sociopaths. They cry without crying. And then they want you to feel sorry for them or empathize with them. Girl, you got pulled over. There are a lot of illegals in the area. What was that? I was born 45 minutes from here. Guess what that means? You have nothing to worry about. Sorry for the inconvenience. What are most likely Hispanic ICE officers looking for what are most likely Hispanic illegals somehow has little Sally Rottencrotch crying. And she's all broken up about it. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Who is raising these people, man? I swear, if you want to be a good parent, just raise your kids not to be these type of people. Just overly sensitive for no reason. I used to watch movies, right? And I used to be like, I would see people do stupid stuff, weak stuff in movies. And I would say, there's no way anyone could ever be that damn ignorant, right? But now that I've seen liberals and they've given them phone cameras and they're recording themselves and going on the internet, I see how someone could be so weak and dumb. Like the stuff you watch the movie and the killer's chasing someone, and the killer's walking very slowly, Michael Myers slow. And the killer's just walking. I mean, think about this. If you walk slightly faster than him, you should be able to get away, right? The chick's running, and she trips over thin air, and she falls, and then Michael Myers is like stabbing her. I thought that was fake. I thought that was unreal. But now I know that there are really people in the world who are like that. There are really people in the world who are like that. And you are looking at one of them in this video, man. It's sad, it's disturbing, but it's true. Constant, unchecked, unadulterated victim syndrome. All they can see is, you're hurting me. Whatever you're doing is making me feel bad. Just zero thought of like self-reliance, strength, mental toughness, none of that. And the world is becoming overrun with these people. It's like the saying goes, weak men, strong men create easy times, easy times create weak men. We are overwhelmed with the product of these strong men. And like me, I consider myself a strong man, but like I constantly like talk to my daughter about like, hey, don't be like this. This is how you need to think about this. You know, always critically think, stuff like that. I don't do what most quote unquote strong men do. They build a life for their family and then they just kind of leave everyone to their own devices. You can't do that anymore. There's way too much negative influence, way too many vehicles by which people can influence other people for a man to just leave his children to their own devices. These people are so ridiculous. They just want to be heroes. They think everything they do is some type of revolutionary act. They sound dumb as hell. I mean, it's even to the point where in one state, you have a sheriff who is calling out protesters because they are on the side of the road protesting what they believe is an ICE raid, but in reality, it's actually a drug bust. So they're interfering with the drug bust, thinking that it's an ICE raid, protesting and acting a damn fool. And I love the fact that this sheriff called them out on it. I think I'm sharing this right now. Hold on. I love the fact that this sheriff called them out on this.
Deputies out there doing an amazing job arresting bad guys, getting dangerous drugs off the street, and you have idiots showing up protesting thinking they're ICE.
You fucking brown bitch.
Last Thursday, our deputies working an investigation that started in Pinal County ended up in Glendale, where they took 3 kilos of coke off the streets and a firearm. While they're there throwing tantrums, we're throwing handcuffs on bad guys. Deputies did an amazing job putting up with their BS.
You fucking. Oh, you're a fucking sellout. Fucking sellout, motherfucker.
2 people that were arrested, both U.S. citizens. How ironic is that?
I'm trying to give you my name. I'm trying to give you my name.
This is ridiculous, guys. You have fully uniformed deputies on scene, marked vehicles, and you still want to protest the police doing their job. You could do better. It's an honor to serve.
Hey, everyone. Yesterday, my detectives were serving a search warrant on a cartel member where they took all of this drugs off the streets. We've got fentanyl pills. We've got cocaine. We got methamphetamines. We got gun seized from this cartel member. Here's the crazy part. Some idiots thinking it was an ICE raid came down and protested.
Go home and tell your families what you do for a living. Hey, oh, ICE cops have got to know.
You want to protest this not getting off the streets? That's insane. Stay out of Pinal County if you're going to commit crime. And I really want to thank my anti-smuggling unit for this long investigation. This was over a half a year investigation where they got 32 pounds of cocaine off the street and 22 pounds of methamphetamines off the street, to include the fentanyl pills. Thanks, guys. You're doing a great job keeping the county safe.
Back up now! Back up now!
Recheck that justifies this.
Yeah, these people just need to be arrested at this point. Like, they make no sense. They're not informed. They don't care enough to, find out what's really going on. They're literally just out there because they want to interfere with what the police are doing. It's really sick. It's sick and it's stupid. I can't understand why we let this type of stuff go on. And the crowds are getting smaller and smaller because the ones who were just out there because it was like the fun thing to do on a Saturday, they're gone already. So the ones that are left are like the extra degenerate people. Like, you'll go to certain places and there'll be straight meth heads bashing Trump. People who ain't even got a tooth in their mouth. Trump's a bigot. It's like, why he's sucking on that one tooth. Trump's a racist. He's a bigot. It's like, dude, please go back inside your tent and shut the hell up. Everybody wants to be righteous. Everybody wants to be virtuous. Everybody wants to feel like they have some type of high ground on somebody else. And this is an easy way to do it. Mean looks, what up? In any other country, they would be deleted. The rioters, they take advantage of the laws. 100%. 100%. It's stupid. But when is it going to stop? We don't know. Because you have a bunch of governors and a bunch of politicians who are like, to them, this is totally acceptable. Just to go to a protest, stand in a crowd, and just act ignorant, man. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ignorant. You just run out of you just run out of words for this type of stuff. I promise you. Trying to see. Okay. Yeah. You can't even say anything. What did you guys think about Trump's speech last night? And this is to you all in the audience. Did you think that Trump's speech was amazing? I love this speech. I thought it was very uplifting. All I see today is people trying to, I think Trump said something about bringing down the price of prescription drugs by 600%. That's what the liberals chose to key on. He said he brought down the price of drugs by 600%. That's impossible. These people look for anything. They look for anything. That was an excellent speech. Trump wiped the floor with them. Trump wiped the floor with the Democrats. You know you got cooked when the only thing you could focus on is where someone, really honestly, I think Trump was just trolling them. When that's all you have to focus on, when that person could throw something out, just like throwing a bone to a dog because they know that's what you're going to key on, you're totally cooked. You're totally cooked. Did you guys hear about this situation where they're voting on whether or not to allow kids to get sex change operations? That's what I wanted to cover. I wanted to cover this. The House just voted on a huge bill. This is going to be the last one for us. So in Texas, hey, hold on. What were they voting on? Gender affirming care vote? Let me see. Guys, what was the vote they had yesterday? Miss Berry, I know you know. What was the vote that they voted? What did they vote on with the gender affirming care? I want to cover that. That's going to be the last thing I cover. Let me see. Okay, so the House I want this right here. Okay, so this is great. I'm trying to see if I can find a clip for this. But basically the House of Representatives, they passed a bill that bans gender affirming care. It not only bans it, it criminalizes it. Yeah, right here. They barely cover the stuff that matters, man. They barely cover the shit that matters and highlight all the stuff that doesn't. But I think I found something I could use. Play it straight mumbler. You guys are gonna have to bear with me with this lady because she's a mumbler. But this is the only video I found on it. That's like over 50 seconds. So bear with me.
All right, Ajay, stay on with me. Now in breaking news, with 216-211 divided vote, a bill criminalizing transgender surgery for minors in the US has been passed in the House, aiming to prohibit doctors from providing any gender-affirming care to minors by amending an existing statute on female genital mutilation. It's the first time a ban on this care has reached Congress. The bill refers to treatments like surgery and hormone therapy as genital or bodily mutilation and chemical castration. More than 200 House Democrats voted against the bill. The bill creates new federal crimes that carry up to 10 years in prison for doctors performing transgender affirming surgeries on minors, while also making it a crime to prescribe puberty blockers. Parents or guardians of children under 18 could also be held criminally liable if they consent to or otherwise facilitate transgender treatment for them. I have Aditya Vadhavan with more details. Aditya, what more can you tell us?
Well, absolutely. This bill regarding the transgenders have been in the United States for now for quite some time, and since Trump administration.
Yeah, I can't understand a word that dude's saying. She was bad, but he's worse. They clearly are part of some like national news network, but definitely somebody cousin got hired, bro. Let's check it. A 20-second clip. See, this is how you know that that these media companies are run by liberals. This is a major bill, and it gets a 20-second clip.
Tonight, the U.S. House approved a bill that would criminalize gender-affirming care for minors. That bill would make it a Class C felony, punishable by up to 10 years in prison for doctors who provide treatments like puberty blockers or surgeries. Now, it's not clear if the Senate will take up the same measure, where it is unlikely to get enough Democratic support to pass.
Now, they're saying the Senate might not pass it. But guess what? Guess what? At least you'll know who's on what side. At least you'll know who's on what side. And at the end of the day, that's mostly what all this is about. There are a lot of people who support Donald Trump simply for the fact that he's fighting against these crazy people who want to do crazy stuff to our kids. What I've never understood about the gender affirming care stuff is this. We'll demonize Africans for doing female genital mutilation in Africa, something that they've been doing for centuries, but which I don't think is right there either. But they've been doing it for centuries. We'll demonize them. America will condemn them for doing that. And then America turns around and does the same exact thing by another name. What's the difference? And what we're doing in America is way worse. What we're doing in America is way worse. But the Africans doing it, you know, is for some reason a humongous problem. Man, the hypocrisy with these people is just unending. The hypocrisy with these people is unending. And frankly, I'm sick of it. But thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate you spending this time with me. What did you guys think about the aesthetic? You like the background? You like the angles and all that? I'm really trying to refine. I'm trying to be more like the other podcasters, the other reaction people. But yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for me in this channel. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not already. Till the next time, take care of yourselves. But most importantly, please take care of each other. Peace.